Hello, and welcome to the first episode of The Cat is Awesome, the show where we take the time to look at how awesome and perfect I am. For the next hour, we're going to just sit back and relax and think about how great I am in every single way. So it's going to be truly enjoyable for each and every... What are you doing here? No, this is my time. It's my show now!
Show dedicated to how great he is. I'd probably watch that. But you know what? This ain't his show. This is Going Crazy at Home with Pastor Jon. I hope you guys had a great time yesterday, starting our new topic of what we're talking about, and that's looking at the blueprints of our life and seeing how they tell us to deal with different situations and different times we feel certain things, right? Yesterday, we learned all about how to deal with our emotions, how important it is to deal with our emotions. Because we learned if we don't deal with them in the right way, it can make a situation a lot worse. But if we know how to deal with them in the right way, we can make any situation better. So we learned when we're starting to feel emotional that we need to stop, we need to look, and we need to listen. We're going to get more into that later. But first, Suzanne and Skip have a video for you guys. Let's check it out.
Susanna, are you ready to get started on today's project?
No time, Skip. You're gonna have to fly solo on this one. I have to get these blueprints to the contractor working on the Joneses' house.
Wait, no, Suze, don't leave me. I don't know how to fly solo. I need your help. Okay, maybe I can do this. What is this project anyway? A jelly bean dispenser for Jake Allman. Got it. Well, that came together in no time. Now, what to do? What to do? What to do? Construction log, time 5:42. This marks 10 minutes without Susanna. I've managed to complete the project all alone. What's next? Only time will tell. Construction log, time 5:44. I've been trying the jelly beans, and of the 18 flavors I've tried, Booger is my least favorite. Maybe I'll leave those for Susanna, if she ever decides to return. Construction log, time 5:49. Susanna has been gone for a total of 17 minutes. I can feel the loneliness starting to grip at my sad little heart. This is worse than having to eat 1,000,000 booger-flavored jelly beans. What are you looking at, Steve? You think you have it all figured out because you have a little friend there? Well, just you wait. Just wait until your little friend decides to let you fly solo. Suit yourself, Steve. I don't need your judgment. Gary will back me up. Isn't that right, Gary? Gary, we talked about this. You're supposed to back me up. John, What did you say, Jon? Oh, guys, how are we ever going to make it without Susanna? Gary, where are you going? Gary, don't you leave me too! No!
Man, that guy Skip does not like to be alone. I mean, I can't blame him. I'm sure a lot of us can actually relate to Skip. You know what? Let's take a few seconds to think of a time that maybe we could relate to Skip. And as you guys think about it, I have somebody who I know can relate to Skip in this situation. Let's check it out.
Ah, I see you're speaking of the dark time in my life. The dark time when you used to leave every day, and I would try and convince you to stay, and you would leave no matter what. But finally, the day has come where I have convinced you to stay home forever. And now all is good. I am no longer lonely, and you are here with me, and you will never go back to work, right?
Yeah, I don't know how he was lonely because I was like sitting right next to him in my own cage, but whatever. I got a problem with the Skip guy. He was dissing. He was making fun of my booger jelly beans. For the record, I love booger jelly beans, and I think everyone loves booger jelly beans.
Oh, now that it's your show I'm about to talk, I see how it is. What are you doing here? I can't take this. I'm so done with all of you. I'm trying to express how much I dislike each and every one of you. This is ridiculous. I'm done. I'm out.
You know, Kat, you could at least act like you'd miss me just a little bit. Maybe it'd help you out some. Maybe I'd let you run the show once or... No, actually, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, I couldn't do that. All right, well, still, it'd be nice if you were nice, all right? And Hooper, lay off the boogers, man, okay? Nobody likes boogers. Nobody's going to agree with you, okay? Skip was right. The boogers are weird, okay? All right, as for us, so what do we got to do to identify the emotions that we're feeling, right? We're going to practice that by thinking about that video. So what we're going to do is we're going to do step one. What is step one? Stop. Very good. So we got to stop and figure out our emotions, right? So this is what we're going to play our game that we played yesterday. It's going to be the emoji identification. That's the word. It's a big one. All right. I have trouble with big words. All right. So we're going to play that game, emoji identification, and we're going to think about what emotion Skip might have been feeling just now. All right. Let's play our game right now.
Okay, so you guys know the drill. You guys are going to look at all these emojis, and I want you guys to make the face of the emoji you think that Skip was feeling in the video. So if you think he was feeling happy, you make a happy face, worried, scared, whatever you guys think it is. So ready? 3, 2, 1, make the face. All right, let's see the correct answer. It's lonely. Maybe he was feeling a little sad, maybe even a little worried, but the main feeling he was feeling was loneliness. Loneliness is a tough emotion, and that's what we'll be dealing with coming right up. So let's check it out and head back over.
So we figured out that the emotion that Skip was feeling in that video was loneliness. Has anyone else ever felt that feeling before, the feeling of loneliness? Can anyone relate to Skip? If you can, I want you guys to raise your hands right now. I know I can. I think everybody can. At some point, we know what it's like to feel lonely. The reality is that sometimes you can even feel lonely when people are around you. Some of us may not know that, but I think some of us do. That, yeah, right now, probably a lot of us are feeling lonely because we're not seeing our friends and everything. But the truth is that sometimes people feel lonely even with tons of other people around. Maybe it's because they don't know anybody or they feel like they don't have any friends around. And you can feel just as lonely when you're sitting by yourself as when you're around hundreds of other people. Loneliness is a feeling that can really get to you if we're not careful. It can make you feel like no one wants you around or no one loves you or anything like that. It can make you feel a lot of different things. And that's why it's so important that we learn how to deal with this feeling loneliness. And we learn how to deal with our feelings. And the best way to do that is looking at the blueprint for our life, right? So what is the first step? It's to stop. Stop, take a second, and recognize what you're really feeling. So Skip was just kind of feeling his feelings, and he never took a second to stop and really look at what he was feeling. And then, because he never stopped, he was never able to take a second to look around and see the real situation that was going on. You see, all Skip saw was that he was alone, and he was sad that he was alone, and that's all his mind would let him think about. But that's why it's so important that we stop, see what we're feeling, look around and see what's really going on, and then we can get to the final step of listen. You see, Skip felt like he was alone and that he had no friends, so he started talking to cones and toolboxes to try and make him feel not lonely. But if he would have just listened, if he would have gotten to that last part of listening, he would have known that he wasn't alone. He would have never felt that loneliness, or he at least would have been reminded that he didn't have to feel lonely because someone is always with him. And that someone is God. You see, if he would have listened to the Bible, if he would have listened to the blueprint, he would have been able to figure out that, you know what? He's never actually been alone, and that God's been with him the entire time. Even though his best friend Suzanne wasn't there, it didn't mean that Skip had to be alone. And we have to remember that too, guys, because we're going to have times where we feel lonely. We're going to have times where we feel we're going to walk into situations where maybe we don't have any friends at the moment. And maybe there are thoughts that come into our mind of, when we allow loneliness to affect us in a really bad way, we don't take care of it and deal with it in the right way, it can hurt us in a really, really big way. Maybe not physically, but it can hurt us mentally. Because when we allow loneliness to sit in our hearts, our brain starts thinking of things that just aren't true. Things of saying like, no one wants to be around you. Nobody loves you. You don't have any friends. And when those thoughts keep running around in your brain, they can really hurt your brain up there. And they can really make you feel other feelings like being sad and taking away your joy and your happiness. And God never wants that for you. And God wants to make sure that you know that you never have to feel alone. You see, not only do you have your family in your life that loves you, not only do you have your children's pastor in your life that loves you, but no matter where we are, no matter where your parents are, no matter where your friends might be, even if you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of friends, that's okay. You have a best friend in Jesus who loves you. And if you listen to his word, you can be reminded that he is always with you, that he'll never, ever, ever leave you, and you'll never, ever, ever be alone. We're going to check out a Bible story that's going to just help remind us of that and help us see how we're never alone because of God. Let's check it out now.
Hey everybody, listen up! Here's what God has to say. Where is everybody? Hello? Anyone?
What's up, man? We're all right here.
Oh, that's a relief. I was beginning to feel really lonely.
I get that. Everybody can feel lonely sometimes, but listen up. You don't have to feel lonely anymore.
For real? Tell me more.
In John chapter 4, there was a Samaritan woman who felt lonely. We know this because she came to draw water from the well, all by herself, and at a time of day when no one would be there.
That's kind of sad. Sounds like she didn't have any friends.
It seems that way. Most women would go get water together. They would talk and laugh on the way to the well and help each other as they filled their jars. Everyone knew this woman had made some pretty bad mistakes in her life. Because of her bad decisions, no one would be friends with her.
Instagram followers? 0.
Think you could say that. So Jesus was traveling from Judea to Galilee. Back then, people would walk from town to town, which could be very tiring.
Dude, according to this map, that's about 70 miles. That's quite a hike. I bet it took forever.
We don't know how long it took, but we do know that Jesus and his disciples stopped in Samaria. And because it was a really hot time of day, Jesus decided to rest by a well where people would come to get water.
Too bad he didn't have a camelback.
A camelback? I'm sure there was a camel with a back around there somewhere, but what good would that do?
You know, it'd keep him hydrated. He could sip water through it as he walked.
Oh, a camelback. Like those backpacks you put water in, not a camel back. That makes a lot more sense. Either way, Jesus didn't have a camelback. Instead, he asked a Samaritan woman to give him a drink.
What? What did she do?
Well, in those days, Jews were not supposed to talk, eat, or drink with Samaritan people. Jesus was a Jew, so the woman was shocked that he would ask her for a drink.
Kind of like if a superhero were to ask their arch nemesis for a cherry slushie? That would, never happen.
Yeah, it was a big deal for Jesus to speak to her, let alone ask her to get him a drink. She listened as Jesus began to tell her about God's gift that could be hers.
What kind of gift are we talking about? Like a new pair of Nikes? A trip to Disney World? A new car?
Not quite. None of those things were around back then. Besides, they don't even compare to the gift Jesus was offering her. He told her about the gift of living water.
Is that the kind of water you chug down on a hot, sweaty day?
No, it's not that kind of water that you drink, but the kind that helps you to never be thirsty again. Just like water satisfies our thirst, Jesus satisfies our hearts. He fills us with his love that never runs out.
Sign me up for that. I bet the woman wanted this kind of water.
She did. She had been living a lonely life, and she hadn't always made the right decisions. In fact, Jesus told her everything she had done.
Oh, like when she spit her vegetables out in her napkin so her parents wouldn't know she didn't eat them?
But, but Jesus didn't make her feel bad for those wrong things. He only wanted her to see how much he cared about her.
That's the best. So how did that help her not feel lonely anymore?
Well, when we decide to follow Jesus, it's like taking a sip of living water. Jesus fills our hearts up with his love. From then on, he is always with us, and there is never a reason to feel all alone.
So, even when I'm by myself in my room, Jesus is with me?
Yep.
What about when I'm with a lot of people and I don't know who they are, and I still feel alone? Jesus is with me then, too?
Even then, Jesus loves you, and he loves me. When I feel lonely, Jesus is with me.
Oh yeah, those guys came back. I love those guys. Those guys are awesome. You know what? They're so cool, I bet you they like booger jelly beans too. And regular boogers, because they're both great. Oh man, you guys are missing out.
Sorry, buddy. As cool as those guys are, I'm thinking you're pretty much alone on the Booger Jelly Beans. Unless anyone out there agrees with them. Anyone? Eli? You like Booger Jelly Beans? Interesting, buddy. Interesting. All right, well, getting past that, what else did you guys think of that story about everything that those guys were talking about in the video? Indy, what did you think?
I must say, what a jolly good story that was. To think that he was helping someone who's considered his arch nemesis. Like, I'm looking at my arch nemesis right now, the square. To think that Jesus helping that woman is like me helping the squirrel. I mean, I must say, this Jesus fellow is pretty darn cool.
Wait a second here. Is everything you're saying and teaching us today basically saying that don't touch me, that I'll never get to be alone?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, Jesus will always be with you, so you'll never be alone. I mean, you'll always have Jesus. Does that bother you?
It's Jesus. Oh, yeah, that's fine. As long as it's not you. Anyone but you. I'm cool with Jesus. Just, yeah, you can go away, though.
You know what, Kat? You know what? I didn't even ask you. You know, at the same time, at least you did say that you're good with Jesus. So I guess if I had to choose, I'm just happy that you want Jesus around. At least there's something good going on in you. But, all right. Well, so for all of us who know the feeling of being lonely and we don't like it because we're not like the cat, I hope you guys aren't. The feeling of being lonely is the worst. And we saw that feeling in this woman at the well. She probably was feeling like no one understood her or understood what she was going through. And along came Jesus, and he told her and showed her how much he loved her, and that if she would just believe in him and follow him, that she would never be alone again. And he helped her. And just the way that he helped her is the same way he helps us today. That everything that he said to her applies to us today. So the next time you're feeling like you're alone, and maybe you're sitting alone at lunch, or you're wondering what other people think of you, and you know, you have all these thoughts running through your head and you just feel like you're alone, remember what Jesus said to the woman at the well. Remember how lonely she felt and how Jesus came along and reminded her and told her that you never have to feel lonely, because when you follow me, you're never alone, and that he loves you so, so much. So guys, we never have to feel like we're alone. We never have to feel like we got to do things by ourselves. Even if we're in a room full of people who don't like us or aren't our friends, we know that we always have Jesus by our side. And that's what our need to know is for today. So when I say, when I'm lonely, you're going to put your thumb down. You're going to put your thumb down, and when I say Jesus is with me, I want you to point up. So I'm going to put up the need to know for today. So when I'm lonely, Jesus is with me. When I feel lonely, Jesus is with me. So when you feel lonely, guys, Jesus is with you, and you don't have to feel lonely anymore. Let's check out our memory verse for today.
Alright guys, today's memory verse reading goes out to Nadia because she said I was her favorite. Score 1 for Hoopy. Alright, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Yeah. Deuteronomy 31:6. I did it.
You know, Hoopy, you always put your all into it. That's what I appreciate about you, buddy. All right, so what was that verse that he just said? That's our memory verse for today. So we got to memorize it. We got to get in our heads, and we got to understand what it means. Because it's one thing to memorize it. It's another thing to really understand what it's saying, right? So I'm going to put up for you guys right now. All right, we're going to take a look at it. It says, Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. So what does that mean? He's saying don't be afraid of anything. Don't be afraid of other people. Don't be afraid of being lonely. Don't be afraid of feeling like you got nobody else, because you got the best person there with you, and that's God. That's Jesus, right? You always have him with you. He will never give up on you. He will never leave you. So never let any thoughts in your brain tell you that you're not good enough, that nobody loves you, that no one's there for you, because God always is. And he loves you. He created you in the way that you are specifically for something special. So nobody ever think less of yourself. Always remember that God made you specifically for a perfect and amazing reason, and he made you the way that you are, and he loves you, and he will never ever leave you alone. And it says he will never forsake you. Forsake means abandon. He will never abandon, never give up on you. And that's what we can remember when we remember this scripture. When we're feeling lonely, we feel like we got nobody else around us, we can remember that no matter what, our God is with us, and he will never ever give up on us. So I think since we never have to feel alone, and God has freed us from that feeling of loneliness, the best thing we can do is worship God. So let's do that for a little bit.
With all my heart and soul, with all my mind and strength, will you show me, God, to love like you love me, so all the world will see. When things don't go my way, I'll talk to you, hear what you say, that's what I do. That's loving you. Trust that you'll turn it around, that's what I do. That's loving you. I will love you, God, with all my heart and soul, with all my mind and strength. Will you show me, God, to love like you love me, so all the world will see. Will love you, God, with all my heart and soul, with all my mind and strength. Will you show me, God, me, so all the world will see.
All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's our show for today. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. See you later.